You also worked on The Captain, right?
I did.
The miniseries
Yes.
for Derek Jeter.
Yes.
How was that?
That was amazing.
Okay. So what was the thought process behind the campaigning, the marketing behind this?
The biggest piece that we walked away with, again, after looking at data, because everything's rooted in data, people were a little skeptical, right? If anyone knows Derek's story or anything else, he's very media trained and he's very guarded with good reason, right? As someone who's in the limelight. And so there was, from the research that we had pulled, there was a lot of suspicion that, you know, was this going to be like a 7-hour highlight reel and like puff piece, or were we actually going to get real and talk about, you know, the nitty gritty? And so our communication goal became challenge the assumption that people have about the film. Whether you thought he was going to get real or not, whether you thought he was going to talk about the A-Rod thing, if he was going to mention gift baskets, like how do we tease that enough to make people come in? Because documentaries, you can Google what happened, right? There's no need to sit down and invest 7 hours or 10 hours in the case of The Last Dance to find out if the team won or if he made it to the Hall of Fame, right? So the hook has to be who's sitting down to talk in the interviews. Are they talking about something they never publicly spoke about before? Are they going to have people that they had static with, you know, and like really kind of hash out those issues? That becomes the interesting part of the story. Obviously, there's great talent in like weaving together that narrative, but there has to be like a so what. And so we're pulling that out as like, this is going to challenge the assumption that you have about his story and who you think he is and what you think he's going to discuss. And so that became like the premise for everything that we did.
Were you pleasantly surprised at how transparent, you know, the story was told?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean, I never heard Derek Jeter curse before this film. And so he, you know, there were moments where he got angry, you know, telling story, and that, you know, he was obviously very composed because he's just like that kind of a guy, but he got real. His wife sat down, you know, they talked about hardships and challenges they had with like having their children and like, you know, the balance of family and like his schedule, and like, you don't have to talk about those things, right? This is about his career, but he really did like pull behind the curtain and allow us, or I should say the filmmakers, to be part of that. And so we were very sensitive, as we always are too. These are people. Right. And so there are things you can do as a marketer to exploit certain stories or like mislead the public into like something scandalous. You know, you guys work in production and editing, right? And we always wanted to be honest. We never wanted to be like mean-spirited. We never wanted to mislead anyone for what they think they were going to see versus what was actually there. And then just being respectful of these people as human beings that are opening up and telling their stories. And, you know, their kids will see this one day. So like, what does this look like?